Question 969. Should religious freedom be absolute?
You define what you mean by religious freedom.
Isn't it always? Isn't it already?
No, it's not always.
Not in some parts of the world.
Not in any part of the world.
I was just thinking about the States. I apologize.
Not in any part of the world.
Well, some religious freedom would be the freedom to kill the infidels. So that's basically saying if they had religious freedom to kill anybody who's not their religion, if you don't let them do that, that's infringing on their religious freedom.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
No.
I mean, there is always that old adage that the best way to secure freedom of religion is to have freedom from religion.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, you know, you can't. You cannot, as a society, you know, just allow sort of separate rules for different groups or whatever because of like the reasons pointed out. And I know this has been sort of one of those things that's been a bit of a hot button issue in the UK, but I don't think we should really get into that too much. That's a controversial topic. But you know, yeah, I don't think you could have a total freedom of religion. I think it's got to be. It's got to be some limits, but it's got to be. You know, I am of the opinion that I want to see all states secular, and yeah, I don't know where.
What if you're again? What if your religion says that you should run a state?
Well, then that's what I mean. Where you have to put limit. You know, you can't have a total freedom of religion. I mean, I don't like, for example, I don't think for example, I don't think Scientology should be allowed to get away with the shit they pull with under the guise of it being their religious freedom. You know, because that they actually will actually argue that all the harassment and shit and money that they take is part of their religious practices, and they have argued that in courts.
Yes, entirely. You get away with it, unfortunately.
So
I've got some questions we've got to clarify here with people.
I think it's worse the people that kill their children under the name of religious freedom, because we're going to pray for them instead of getting medical treatment, or our religion doesn't allow blood transfusions and things like that. No, I think we absolutely need to have limits on religious freedom.
Morton says no. Chad Hall says yes, full stop. Richard says absolute freedom may include acts that a child should not see. Then
this is the caveat on the question, Dave. Is you said the word absolute.
Yes.
And that's the caveat on the question, which is why, I'm in favor of like a general freedom of religion and that, but an absolute. That's where I've got a problem.
The point is we have this situation where people expect you're infringing on my religious freedoms without any comprehension that your religious freedoms have to be restricted.
Well, this is why I think the first thing is we actually probably actually have to, and I don't even know between us that we've reached exactly a consensus on what exactly is and isn't religious freedom. That's I mean.
Your religion says you shouldn't pay tax.
Yeah, exactly. That's all religions, though, isn't it?
No, lots of religions don't say it. Nobody to be up there. Okay. Again, Christianity says you should. And yet they don't.
They don't.
Pay unto Caesar.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Render unto Caesar. Yeah.
Render. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Right, we're there.
No, it means the same thing. But
it does. Harmonica Man says, does religion have freedom? It seems that you have to be a submissive bitch to be somehow good inside of it. Yeah? But it's your freedom to be the submissive bitch within it. Doc says, no, humans need to grow out of religion. See, here's the thing. I think that religious freedom should be much more. I think what we have right now is this wishy-washy thing. Unfortunately, the States is worse for it because it has a goddamn religion clause against nothing against religion in its constitution that needs to go. I think there needs to be a definition of what is allowed to be included under religion. I mean, you have the right to believe whatever you want. You do not have the right to interact with society in any way you want.
Yeah.
It's the swinging your fist around analogy. Yeah. Your religious freedom ends at other people's freedom when it starts infringing on other people's freedoms, for sure.
I mean, I need to just clarify something. I need to, and ask this of the Americans on the panel here, just to make sure that my understanding of this is right, because I'm not entirely sure if it is. My understanding is that that technically you can't. It's about the establishment of religion. So technically, religions are not recognized as such.
No, it's that the government can't establish a religion. They're not recognized as being supported by the government.
Yeah. So because I've often heard this thing with just because it was the big thing about like what something similar to what my previous belief system was, which was Norse paganry, that technically speaking, like heathenry or Osatru got recognized in the United States before it did in Iceland, which is ancestral homes of that religion, but it didn't actually. But I think there was a misunderstanding of what it meant by being recognized. And so that's just what I'm trying to, because I'm not quite sure what the wording is.
People like to take liberties with a lot of the terminology used in our legal documents, especially because they were written, in the 18th century, and their archaic language, doesn't necessarily roll over too well. You find that a lot of people talking about religious freedom in general. It's not freedom. They'll say, "Oh, it's not freedom from religion; it's freedom for religion," stuff like that. But it's if you look at the terminology used, it should protect both classes. You should be free from the government forcing religion on you, but the religion should be free from the government forcing you to.
See, I've got a weird sort of. This might sound like a contradictory position that I'm going to espouse here.
Never happened on this show.
Yeah, but like, for example, like a big thing that became a kind of an issue in the it was a bit of a talking point. I wouldn't say a big issue, but a talking point in the press and whatever, was faith schools in the UK. And to be honest, a lot of this was I suppose, the post 9/11 era or whatever, and there was a big thing about Islamic faith schools and so on. And now I'm definitely of the opinion, I don't really want faith schools at all. I want all education secular. But the counter to that is that if we have no problem in the UK letting the Church of England run schools, we have no problem with Catholic schools being run in the UK or Jewish schools. Why did it suddenly become a fucking problem when Muslims wanted to run faith schools? And I'm like, well, so that's where I kind of had the that's like, well, if you are going to allow it for one, then you probably should. If you are going to allow it for one group, you probably should allow it for other groups. I'd sooner it not be for any group whatsoever. So I know that might seem like it's a contradiction, but you kind of get where I'm coming from.
It should be fair, and this is the problem. You can't start nitpicking other religions if you're not going to deal with it's the problem we have at the moment with the policing, just touched on here, about the fact that our police go and talk to Muslim leaders if there is a problem with a member of their congregation. Right, and a big deal has been made out of this, and I think it's totally wrong. But the problem is, the same thing happens within the Catholics and the Protestants and the Church of England.
Yeah,
right, but we don't talk about it there. We're making a big deal because the police are handling it with the Muslims. The police handle it the same way.
Yeah, and it is I mean, obviously we've seen in the UK some bad results because obviously some of the news stories that have broken in recent years. But I mean, it's one of those things because people often say to me one of my big criticisms is I knock Christianity a lot. Why don't I ever knock Islam? And my basic response is I honestly don't know very much about Islam. I don't know enough to knock it intelligently. If I'm gonna knock a fucking belief, I want it to be
understand it.
I want to be. And I'm not. Maybe sometimes I'm not all that informed on Christianity, but I've got a basic understanding of it.
No, I go the other way. I will knock Christianity because I understand it, but I will also support the people that are knocking Islam because they understand it.
I don't mind the knocking of Islam as a religion. I don't mind that, but I think what we have seen in the UK, and there's just no fucking getting away from it, is a lot of the knocking of Islam has been fucking racist in the UK, and it's not about the fucking religion or the belief system. It has been fucking racist, and there is no getting away from it. And that's that's where it's a difficult thing to negotiate in the UK. That how do you have you need to have if you're going to have a critique of this thing, you need to have an intelligent critique of it, I think. And that's the problem. There's a lot of lazy critiques when it comes to Islam in particular, I think, in the UK. That's just my opinion, but
well, we get the same thing over here. Really, we have like politicians or whatever that are Muslim. People flip their shit. Oh my God, they blew up the Twin Towers and now you're putting them in office. It's like, no, didn't blow up the Twin Towers. That was the terrorist group that happened to be.
I mean, they say this like there aren't Christian terrorist groups.
Right,
exactly. Well, and the one thing as well is that I think, and again, my knowledge of Islam is very, very sketchy at best. But people group Muslims as Islam as one homogenous kind of thing, not realizing that there's many splits and schisms or whatever within that religion as there is within Christianity.
Right.
So
yeah.
If you delve into it, and like I said, I'm no expert, but I have delved in enough to know there's plenty of fucking schisms there, and people think of it as always one homogenous thing.
Yeah. The biggest difference between like Catholics and the evangelicals,
and you say like Sunni or Shia, it's the most basic one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, they're all going to lump them all together and say that they're all terrorists and that they're all out to destroy our Western way of life and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. Sammy says, as long as religious freedom includes freedom from, again, they've
back
got
in
conflict.
right?
No problem. Chad says, if religious freedom was absolute, then everyone would be free to have their own religion. Ultimate individualism is the key to peace and empathy. I'm not convinced I agree with that. Religion is a lower right here, subject to all other laws and rights, says Gregory. I don't know where Gregory's from. Morton says, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Robert says, no, nothing should be absolute. Ricardo says, is this before or after the referendum? Well, after the referendum, when we have the one true religion, it wouldn't be a problem. It could be absolute. Math Pig. You just said no, didn't you?
I think Brian said it all, everything perfectly succinct at the start, and everybody has just added and added and added to that. So there is nothing that I can add to. It has all officially been covered.
Very good. B.
I view religion, as people who are believers, the same way I do with drugs. If you want to do it in your house or your church, that's fine. Don't bring it out in public. Don't push it on other people. Don't fuck up children with it. I don't give a shit what you do behind closed doors. I just don't want to see any of it. So no, I don't think they should have absolute freedom. because then they could just harass people and push it on people, and I mean, they might as well be drug dealers.
I wonder if we
I'm not
started
okay
calling
with that.
I wonder if we started calling religion a kink, if it would
Right.
they'd like that.
I mean, I don't go out and say, hey, you shouldn't believe in God, so don't push it on me. I don't push my beliefs on other people.
Yes.
I'll state them, we can discuss it, but I don't push it on people, so I don't think anybody else should do it either. And definitely with some of the religions being okay to kill people and, you know, chop off body parts of women and everything else they do. No, I don't approve of all that. It's horrible. So
it is. Last word to Granny.
Oh, I think I already said my piece on this. Absolutely, it should not be absolute, because there's just too much room for abuse with anything that's absolute. In addition to that, as soon as you decide that religious freedom is absolute, anytime you want to do something illegal, all you have to do is say, hey, that's my religion, it's part of my religion.
I think that's the problem. You would have to explicitly police religions, which would be fun. If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.